Okay, now let's begin. Okay, so first things first, start with the normal opening. Let's change it so that we only have my perspective in the fog. I decided to go for a slightly different opening that I usually go with. And you'll see it in a bit. Normally a recon would be my first unit, but not this time. I realized that I don't build recons early enough anyway. Like, if I were to build a recon, it would be day 3, and I would send it quickly to immediately harass infantry. But this game I chose not to build a recon for the reason that I wanted to try a different opening, and the fact that I don't build recons on day 3 anyway, so why bother? So we're going to see the opening. I start with an artillery, but that's not the primary reason why I abandoned the recon. My opponent had a tank on the top side, which would have countered my early recon anyway. And here it is, the APC. So the reason why I built the APC, this infantry I could send this infantry to skip this property and immediately go for the property chain over here. I think that will boost my capture game by quite a lot. And this APC over here can help boost this infantry in the back. So I'm getting this property anyway. I might as well send this one down to get the 3 chain. So that's why I chose not to build the recon this time and went for the artillery and the APC. Okay. Alright, nothing unusual. My opponent built another tank on the other side, kind of splitting the forces evenly so far. And like I said, I got that boost from the penguin, so the penguin can reach this property. But the rest of the opening is pretty normal. I built a recon and followed up with a tank, as usual. They already go for the... fair enough. I think I do the same. I get for the comm tower quickly because comm towers are always nice to get, and it actually could be prevented, I believe. If you don't do a recon opening, it is possible to prevent your opponent's comm tower. So, perfectly fine. And now I start this chain ahead of my opponent. Normally they should be the one ahead on this because they start with an infantry out the bottom side. But I'm ahead because I skipped this property for the chain down here. I get my artillery in this forest. I should probably stop doing that, or at least mix it up a bit. This is becoming a little too predictable now that I realize that I pretty much always put an artillery here. So I should be mixing my openings up on this map a little more just to not be predictable. I moved my APC to bring my penguin over here, and then I boosted it just for style points. It doesn't actually boost anything. It's still going to reach this property in the same amount of time, but it's not about the use of it, it's about the style. And I bring my tank closer, artillery and tank. So I'm putting a lot of effort on this side. This is Andy versus Drake, so I want to try to take my opponent's comm tower. I'm not so aggressive as to deny it completely. I simply want to capture it later on, because if my opponent doesn't have any comm towers, they will have a hard time killing off my units, and if they have a hard time killing off my units, Andy's hyper upgrade will get a lot more value that way. A preemptive anti-air. To be honest, that's fair. That's a fair anti-air. Normally I would have built a battlecopter by now, but I decided to instead go for a tank and artillery based army. Move my recon forward to get a little more vision. Move my tank in to cover everything. And even if my opponent could reach my tank with their tank, I'm fine with that because I got another tank to back it up coming very quickly. So tank chains are always, well, most of the time tank chains are always good because you can cover one tank with another. And just to not completely leave this side undefended, I wanted to make sure I had some presence here. I know some players just go in without, just go in recklessly, and even though it is reckless, it would be winning for them because I don't have anything. I just wanted something to defend this, so I built a tank. And even if they don't attack here, it's not too hard to shift the tank over from the right side to the left side. Well, the right side to the top side, if you would prefer to call it that way. Alright. Double artillery on this side. Okay. I got a little ambitious. So, I thought I might as well try since I'm ahead in the capture game because I built an APC. What could possibly go wrong over here? Probably not the best idea, but I went for it anyway because why not? I decided to take a shot at this infantry with my recon, and the reason why I felt comfortable doing so is because I had two tanks that cover that recon. So if there's a tank nearby to counter the recon, I have a double tank to destroy that tank. And I can move an artillery in to cover my two tanks after my tank gets a shot. I know my opponent is Drake, but you shouldn't doubt Drake. You should not doubt Drake battlecopters. Battlecopter and tank is still pretty strong against a tank, even if it's a Drake battlecopter. Especially since the the comm tower is captured. Alright, gets a shot at my recon. Kills off my recon. Okay, I'm fine with that. I see one tank. And nothing much else so far because my recon is down. I see a tank shoot at my... it didn't show in the fog, but before this tank shot at my penguin, it looks like he had no vision. But instead, this infantry right over here got trapped by my penguin, and that's how he got vision for this tank. So, even though this penguin was pretty much lost, I delayed this capture by just standing there, and I found that funny. Like I said, Drake battlecopter. You should always build an anti-air if there's an airport on the map, and the air units are pretty just pretty viable in general on simply because you don't have to spend a base on it. So I get two shots on this tank, destroy it completely, then I support it with an artillery. Perhaps I should not have showed my artillery to the infantry, maybe I should have placed it on the road instead. Maybe this way I might encourage another tank to walk in and then I just blast it with my artillery. But, too late. So, now I'm pressing really hard on the comm tower. I don't think I can get the comm tower right now, but I want to force some engagements and force some trades because, well, I want to press as much pressure as possible. So, I go triple tank. I still haven't built a battlecopter yet. This is very different than how I normally play on this map. Normally, I would go for a battlecopter, tank, and 2 infantry, but I decided I want to up my tank count very quickly because I want to go really hard on the comm tower. So, get more vehicles for the short-term gain. Alright, interrupts my comm tower. Capture. Oh, it's not my comm tower, but interrupts the capture. Which is definitely the... like, you have to, why would you not? I decide to go in. APC here just to get the vision on the city to make sure nothing's on it first. Then I pull back a little just because you never know if there's a lot of if there's units in the fog. I don't have a recon, unfortunately, because I lost it. So I played a little more cautiously over here. But mostly because my anti-air is still arriving. Like I said before, never underestimate the Drake battlecopter. It still does a lot of damage to your tanks. So, now that my anti-air has arrived, next turn I will feel more confident attacking. And I built a battlecopter of my own, as well as 2 recons, because you definitely need vision. Using the formation that I typically use with artillery, unit on both sides so that they have to use one side to get vision, and all the way around on the other side to actually attack the artillery. I like putting this formation quite a bit. And maybe I would encourage some unsuspecting infantry to capture this property. A few infantry fights here and there over this property. Sacks this infantry. Maybe that extra chip damage is what allowed the penguin, allowed his infantry to kill off the one on the comm tower. Moves artillery in. Okay, moves second artillery in. So, a lot of vehicles going in for this defense. But I'm fine with that because I got these 2 properties, which means I should have more income, as I am denying this one and I'm taking both of these. And I also have control of this, so I will be pretty far ahead in income. I continue doing infantry fights here just to slow them down even further. I am going to lose these infantry, but they pretty much earned themselves back by the amount of infantry I was able to kill, and also denying that property. I do a little more skirmishes, and I begin by my attack over this area. I sent the APC 2 scouts ahead, didn't really get any valuable intel. I see the artillery, and I decide I'll just go for the tank instead. And I also see the battlecopter, so I know, okay, I have to hide my anti-air so I don't lose it, because I only have 1 air defense now. I should wait till the battlecopter's in range before revealing it. As for why I put the artillery here, I'm expecting my opponent to put a tank on a city to get that 30% defense, to get a shot on my tank, so if you want to take the city defense, I'll just shoot at you with an artillery. That's the plan. And let's see. Yep, I shift the tanks from my right side to the left because I can. Why would I not? Sure, I am leaving this side even less defended, but it's not really a threat considering that I still have plenty of room to play around with over here. And now I start my battlecopter swarm. Battlecopter attacks my tank. That's expected. Tank goes on the property. Nice shot for my artillery. Nothing. Getting a lot of good shots against my infantry. I wish I had a little more infantry here. Probably something my APC could have been used to pick up more infantry and bring it over. But infantry is important. You don't want to lose too many of them, especially when you're attacking. Because if you win the fight and you don't have any infantry, then it makes the entire purpose of fighting here quite meaningless. Unless you get a really good value lead, which isn't that much for me right now. Got rid of that tank, got rid of that battlecopter, and I begin capturing this just to be a little annoying. I saw the artillery shoot at one of my infantry. Well, I didn't see it. I know my infantry died there, but for whatever reason, I did not suspect the an artillery over here. But fortunately, I was cautious enough to not put any of my tanks in artillery range. And now I just have a lot of tanks just lining up ready to attack here. We're also very close to our superpowers, so I'm looking forward to that +1 movement. I built another APC because my opponent is Drake, and I know fuel will be a problem for my first APC. I also built a bomber because Annie's air unit is actually really strong. Despite not knowing what an airport is, his air units are very powerful in the sense that they don't get one-shot by anti-air, and they don't get one-shot by Drake fighters. So these bombers are actually very resilient because if they take damage, you can just heal them up as Andy. My opponent does a Neo tank. Okay, I'm not a fan of Neo tank, but yeah, I'm just not a fan of Neo tanks. I don't necessarily have anything against them. I just prefer bombers because bomber. I think the main reason why I prefer bombers over Neo tanks is because if I bomb a Neo tank, the bomber already earned itself back. They cost the same amount. But if a Neo tank shoots at a light tank or some other vehicle, it did not earn itself back yet. And in the fog, you don't know if you just walked into some artillery range or something. Or worse, a bomber range. So that's why I prefer bombers over Neo tanks. There's a second Neo tank here. Okay. Here's the Typhoon. Did quite a lot of damage. Couldn't quite kill off this tank here, so I'm pretty happy about that. Until... okay, still survived. So, what will I get if I use my superpower now as opposed to later? Well, I'd rather just use it now. I don't really see much benefit to holding it for mid-turn. I'd rather get the movement bonus so my tank all the way in the back has just enough movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, you need that superpower to get that 7th tile onto here. I also saw that artillery shot at my penguin over here, so I know that there's an artillery in this forest, because there's no way there's a rocket in this game. So I scout that artillery, get another shot on this, take a shot at the artillery, got a luck roll, never mind, didn't get the luck roll. And I sat on the property because why not? I begin capturing this just to be annoying. After all, this infantry is not going to interrupt it, so if... Hello Link V23. As I was saying, this infantry is not going to interrupt this capture, so he'll have to waste the vehicle's turn to hit an infantry, which you don't want to do that. I moved one of my penguins up just to see ahead. I don't plan to fight in this because I know my opponent has... I know I saw at least 2 tanks down here. And I'd rather just sit here and wait. So I just sit there and wait. I send my bomber down, thinking maybe I can get something over here. And just overall setting more pressure onto this area. Alright, artillery shoots at my tank, okay. Tank shoot at my tank, doesn't kill it, which means the only way to interrupt this capture is to shoot it with an artillery. Well, actually, never mind. You could move the artillery away, shoot the tank with a 1 HP tank, maybe it will kill it, then send the infantry over. But why would you not shoot with an artillery if you can? I see a Neo tank. Hello. I see a Neo tank. And I think, alright, instead of sending my bomber down, I need to send my bomber to the left to deal with that Neo tank. 1 HP tank kills 1 HP tank. And this time, the tank died. It didn't survive. I see the anti-air pulls back into this forest. And I know he has an artillery here. I see one tank. I know he has at least one other tank in there. So, this is a lot of vehicles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vehicles. And being very cautious around here. I don't blame him. He has no recons. And you need recons, otherwise you won't know what's ahead. So, kill off that artillery. But it's still strange how you're committing this many vehicles just to stare, when my focus is clearly up here. I kill off this other tank, I go in, kill off more tanks, knock out the vision, move... Oh, that's how he knows my artillery is there. I walked over his property. Oh, I was wondering why he did not try to fight into that artillery. Turns out he knew it was there because I walked over his property. Alright, I'll keep that in mind for next time. But still, a Neo tank should be able to one-shot a tank on a plains, since he has one comm tower. He couldn't Neo tank this tank, then other Neo tank this artillery. But I suppose because he doesn't have vision, he doesn't know how strong my units actually are up here. I still would do it. Neo tank to kill this tank. Oh, he has no vision on this. Okay. Hear me out. Neo tank on this tank. Infantry moves up, interrupts comm tower, and gets vision on artillery. Neo tank one-shots artillery, then anti-air reaches my battlecopter. He should know exactly how my units are positioned right here. Except for maybe this time, actually. My artillery could have moved here, but that wouldn't make sense. But still, he knows that I have tanks. Because I just killed 2 tanks over here, he should know my units are positioned like this. He should also know my anti-airs here. So I think it's just a missed opportunity. Maybe he didn't want to risk a Neo tank, one of the expensive Neo tanks, but it's totally worth killing these 3 units. So, I send my bomber left just to get ready to deal with the Neo tanks. And, as usual, I shift more of my units to the left because I don't have to defend this area if he's just going to keep staring. I also pull my artillery back because I realized he probably has quite a lot of units down there and he can break through if he wants, so I pulled it back. Neo tank kills my recon. I have another one, so I still have vision. And it's now in range of my bomber, so I'm happy about that. Interrupts my capture completely, I'm fine with that. I see the Neo tank move through. And I did not know if the anti-air is still here, because I don't have vision on this area. It could have just moved away and then the Neo tank walk into this forest. But I know the Neo tank is definitely in this area. Sends an infantry to scout this forest. Good thing I moved my artillery away. and shifts everything up. Alright, it's about time I actually get some pressure from him. I kill off the infantry with my anti-air. I mean, what else is it gonna shoot? But mostly so that I not only get rid of the infantry, but I also get vision on this Neo tank, which I can now bomb and then destroy. I see a Neo tank over here, so that's where the Neo tank is, and I'm not sure if the anti-air is still here, but just in case, I move my artillery here to scout the anti-air. Then I move my tank here to take a shot at it, so it will have a much harder time killing off my battlecopters. Or my bomber. I don't want my bomber to die, of course. I send my recon back to attack and to get vision. And I know he has an artillery here, and I know he has way more vehicles. But the whole point of attacking this area is to take the comm tower, so that Drake will have a harder time killing my units. And if Drake has a harder time killing my units, as I said, I would just heal them back up. So of course, I have to interrupt this comm tower to justify my overly aggressive attack on the left side. And it is worth it, I believe, since no comm tower Drake is very difficult to play against Andy, who will just heal everything up. And I have a second bomber, so... well, I know there's plenty of tanks. Medium tank. I don't build a Neo tank because I want to get a battlecopter as well. I still don't like Neo tanks for whatever reason. In this case, it's because I'd rather get a medium tank and a battlecopter. Can't afford them if I bought a Neo tank instead. Alright, recon moves up, get vision. Kills my artillery. Okay. Activates Typhoon, so it's fine. My bomber is off the airport, so it's not going to cost me anything to repair it, since I'll just use my superpower. Continues capturing the comm tower, but with a different infantry. So let's take a look at the position. I'm really close to their base, they're really close to my base. Well, I already got this comm tower, which means I've gotten everything I ever wanted to gain on the left side, so there is no point in me fighting so close to their bases and their airports. So what do? I use Hyper Upgrade, heal everything back up, and get the +1 movement. Artillery takes a shot at this tank. Take a shot at his infantry. I think I got a good luck roll and killed it. Or maybe it's just that I have 2 comm towers and it's actually very likely. I go bomb this tank. I decide to shoot at the... So the thing was, my recon has 6 fuel. Do I even have... Okay, my reasoning was I wanted to have my recon move down and shoot at the artillery here, but then it's raining and I didn't actually get vision. I thought I would get vision with the battlecopter, so I sent the battlecopter down here, and then I plan to move my recon over here. But not only do I still not have vision, recon can't even go there because it only has 6 fuel. So I move it to a city just to get vision on it. Penguin all the way in this forest, just to be annoying, but it also gives vision. Start shifting all my units to the right. Again, I got this comm tower, I don't need to stay here anymore, I could just retreat. I resupply my APC because at this point my APC is getting pretty low on fuel. And now I have this penguin horde ready to walk down and recapture all of these properties I lost. So some people don't know when's a good time to front shift. The good time to front shift is if you think it's too hard to continue advancing on this side and you don't really have much to gain. What do I have to gain here? This property? That's it. It's not really worth fighting over here. this close to their base. However, I can gain all of these properties at the corner down here. So this is where we should be front shifting. You have plenty to gain on the other side, but nothing to gain over here. So I front shift. I'm perfectly fine with my bomber being here, simply because I know it will survive any anti-air or fighter attacks. I have 2 anti-air of my own in case of a fighter. And let's hurry this up a little bit. Alright, fighter. I got both comm towers. It's not going to one-shot a bomber. So I go in because I know I saw heavy units on this side, a medium tank and a neo tank, and I think it's going to take them a long time to actually reach this front. So I should take advantage of this and do as much damage as I possibly can. I go in, kill off, picking off as many vehicles as I can, spot an anti-air, so I think, oh, this anti-air was here pretty much here the whole time, probably. But it's fine, since can't one-shot my bomber, I'll just heal it back up. And this time, I made sure my battlecopter did not walk over the property, because I don't want to give them vision. Okay. I start picking up some of the penguins that are still here and bringing them all the way to the right where it can support my main body of units here. Alright, goes for my battlecopter, which makes sense because anti-bombers will just heal up. Kills my tank here. And that's about all I see, I believe. I see an infantry move down, but I don't see any of this. Still, he knows I'm definitely attacking here, so he's responding. And he's sending some infantry up here to maybe try to retake these properties. But even if he retakes these properties, I'm getting so many properties back. I load up my infantry again to drop it off, so where I can start capturing these properties over here. I think this one is a little too risky, which is why I decide to drop it down here where my main army is. Medium tank walks over their property. Maybe I should have placed it here and it will go this way. That would have been a better movement if I didn't want to reveal my medium tank. Alright. I actually meant to move my bomber somewhere. APC comes in, resupplies everything here, and drops off an infantry first. Because I wanted to refuel this tank, but I misplayed the order. And now this tank only has 14 fuel, but that's not really too bad. It can still move pretty well. And I can always resupply it next turn anyway. Artillery, sit on this property to control all of this space. And then I create a nice wall to make it really hard to break through. Drake has no comm towers right now, so it will definitely be really hard to break through this line. And battlecopter tank here just to not allow any interrupts to my capture. I know I'm putting my battlecopter off to the side, but from what I can tell, because I killed all those vehicles during his retreat, I'm up in the KD, so I'm okay with being down one copter temporarily if it means I'm getting more income in the long run. Because I definitely do have the income advantage, and I will get a bigger advantage as I recapture these properties. And I built a fighter of my own because I'm expecting a Drake fighter. Also because my anti-air are pretty exposed, and I otherwise wouldn't have any fighter defense. Recon moves up here. Normally when you front shift, you're supposed to bring pretty much your entire army down here because any skeleton crew you leave will probably get picked off. But I choose to put 2 penguins in these forests for a reason that I want to delay a comm tower capture here. If I can delay a comm tower capture, that's another turn that I have a massive plus 20% firepower from both my comm towers, and more importantly, I deny my opponent that firepower, so they will have a harder time killing my units. Anti-air will still one-shot battlecopters regardless. Fighter comes in, doesn't one-shot it, but a second anti-air comes in and kills it. And if you notice, my opponent has 5 anti-air and a fighter. That's how afraid they are of my bombers because they just don't die. I'm Andy. No, I say I'm still pretty well, of course I'm confident. I'm definitely in a winning position. I continue capturing. Like I said, I'm not afraid of... one of the reasons why I don't like Neo-tanks is because bombers can just one-shot them, and the bomber already earned itself back. That Neo-tank costs as much as it takes to build a bomber. So I don't care if I lose the bomber, but alright, we both have our charge right now. I go for Hyper Repair to get that plus 10% attack and defense. And when Drake uses the superpower next turn, it will do 2 damage to all my units, which, because I only use my normal power, I can easily get a second normal power and heal it right back anyway. So that's 2 turns I'm getting that extra firepower and defense bonus. Which is why I decided to use my normal power this turn. I begin capturing the HQ just to be annoying. I don't expect to actually take it, but I do expect some units to be spending their time attacking it. APC brings another infantry to start capturing these properties, but also to continue the walling process. Okay. I decide to send my recon out there for vision. I see all these anti-air and some battlecopters. So, I already lost one of my 2 anti-air down there. And I might lose my other anti-air because I can see a tank nearby. So what do? I thought I built some anti-air this turn, but it turns out I built out a stealth. Alright. They say when you're wealthy, don't build a stealthy, that's what D just says. But I'm facing Drake. Drake can't one-shot a stealth because he doesn't have any comm towers, and his fighters are at -20 right now. And another thing, I'm also Andy, so if my stealth does take damage, I can heal it back up. And these air units are very strong for that reason. Plus I have 2 APCs already, so it's not really that expensive. One of the main reasons why stealths are bad is because they run out of fuel so quickly. But I got 2 APCs, so I can easily resupply it. Alright, here's the superpower. Doesn't actually break through all that much because of my extra 10% defense from my power. Starts capturing my comm tower. Good thing I'm prepared and I have 2 penguins nearby. Stealth, I decide to hide it right away, because why not? Anti-air still kills with battlecopter. I'm trying to build up charge from my normal power so I can heal all my vehicles up before I attack. And I decided to just attack this recon for the charge, get my hyper repair. Now all my units are full health again. They don't get the +1 movement from the hyper upgrade, but they still get the 10% firepower and defense from having a power active. So now I can break through over here because all my units are healthy again. I can sit on the HQ, which is... You don't want to attack Andy on an HQ, he's not going to die. My bomber already bombed a Neo tank, now it bombs a medium tank as well. This bomber is earning back so much value. And I'm still capturing all of these properties, whereas he's still... don't know why he didn't go for this one. It doesn't make that much of a difference to skip it. Well, other than you get you get your income later, and I get to keep my income for a little longer. APC here, just to be annoying, block off the bomber. Medium tank, that's not going to die. So you gotta spend some time shooting at this APC, because above is a forest where you can't attack, and below is a medium tank that you can't break through. So I think this APC is a good wall. I have another APC if I ever want to resupply. And thanks to my extra, I'm currently at plus 30 firepower because of the power active and the comm towers active. I still think it's a little bit of a luck roll, correct me if I'm wrong, but I killed off that infantry, so I remain in firm control of the comm tower. My fighter has finally reached it, so I'm not too worried about Drake air units anymore. I say that as I build 2 more anti-air. Alright. He sees my recon, so he doesn't start capturing these. I say just go capture them anyway. You got a tank here. Recon doesn't kill my penguin, which must be annoying since I'm Andy. Kills off the APC, shoots at the bomber. Bomber is still alive, and I found this very hilarious. I get first struck, but I do way more damage back. I just found this very hilarious. Battlecopter goes here. Don't know the purpose of this. Probably just to wall, but you can see air units in the forests. Air units can't hide in the fog, so I know it's there. I don't know why he didn't interrupt anything over here. Maybe it's because of the fact that, I don't know, I'm pretty sure 2 HP infantry can still do 1 damage to a penguin on a city. Regardless, I'm still capturing these properties anyway. I'm now at 12k income ahead, and I'm definitely going to press that. Kill off that battlecopter. Bomber, once again, still being useful. Couldn't quite get the kill, but I still couldn't quite get the kill, so that was annoying. But it's fine, a 1 HP anti-air isn't going to do much. I send my fighter in. I refuel all of my units. And I realize at this point I can't really wall off my bomber because I used all my other units, so I might as well use it to attack. My bomber is going to die, but it's fine. It has bombed a Neo tank and 2 medium tanks in the process, so it definitely earned itself back. And I realized I should probably get something to defend this area. He will definitely have to send almost all of his units to defend his HQ, so I could get away with sending a few vehicles just to ensure that I don't lose these properties. More importantly, that I don't lose the comm tower. And once again, go in the woods just to be annoying. And make it so that any infantry trying to capture the comm tower will have to get hit by my penguins. And another bomber, because bomber's been working out so far. Kills off some of my units, continues capturing my properties, but at this point the game is over. Kills my bomber and then resigns. Okay. So, that was this game. I really like Andy in tier 3 now. Mostly because I'm expecting a Drake most of the time, so I like going Andy against Drake. But I think the main reason why my opponent lost is over here, where so many vehicles on this side, and meanwhile I'm sending my vehicles all to fight over here, whereas he has 5 and then soon to be 6 vehicles staring at 1 artillery, 1 tank, and 1 recon. All of these vehicles, or at least some of them, could have been sent over here to help defend, or otherwise he should have been more aggressive over here. I think the problem was he didn't have a recon at the bottom, so he's afraid of a strong presence up here. But I have so many tanks here, so many artillery, well, one artillery, but the amount of vehicles and units I have up here should be a sign that I do not have much defending here, especially since it takes 3 turns to walk up here, whereas it takes, well, 2 turns from this base and 3 turns from this base. So it's a slightly faster reinforcement time for my opponents. But still, these vehicles, they sat there without doing anything. Perhaps they could have... Yeah, it's also a lot of infantry not being utilized to its fullest. I think they should have just been more aggressive with the captures. Even if they get hit, it's fine because they can just punish any of my units that try to stop with numerical superiority. But that was this game. So, let's get on to the next one.